Okay, welcome. So this is going to be our first lesson on the web page that's a video. We'll go over this in class, but if you want to go over the video again, make sure that you have all the notes that you need, or if you're struggling with the topic, feel free to come back to this. So the first thing that we're going to be discussing is linear algebra. And for linear algebra, we're going to start with talking about what operations can be done with coordinates. So first, if you're given 2 points, let's look at what you can do. First thing you can do is find the slope between those 2 points. There's a formula for this. The formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But I think it's easier to just subtract the y's, put them on top of a fraction, subtract the x's, put them on bottom of a fraction, and then simplify. I think that's a lot easier for me to understand, and it helps me do it in my head so that I'm not necessarily needing to write down that formula every time. But your mileage may vary. If you like the formula and you feel like the formula helps you, by all means use that formula. The next thing we're going to look at is midpoint. Again, there's a formula for midpoint. It is as a coordinate. The x part of the coordinate is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And the y part of the coordinate is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. And then your answer is an x comma y coordinate, whereas for slope your answer is going to be either a whole number or a fraction. I think it's easier to think of midpoint as the average. So you would find the average of the x's, which is by adding them up and dividing by 2, the average of the y's, add them up and divide by 2, and then put them into a coordinate. So average of x's, comma, average of y's. I think it can be easier to think of it this way, and it makes it easier to try to do this in your head as well. Next, we're going to talk about distance, and my distance formula here is a little bit off. So the distance formula is the square root of, in parentheses, x2 minus x1 quantity squared, plus, in parentheses, y2 minus y1 quantity squared. However, I like to think of it as having a Pythagorean triangle, where those 2 points represent the ends of the hypotenuse, and then you can use the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, to find the length of the hypotenuse, and that would be the distance between the 2 points. However, I understand a lot of people like using the formula, so you do you. Next, the equation of a line. And when I say the equation of a line, I'm almost always talking about it in slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b. But I think it's easiest if you're given 2 points to find the equation of a line by using something called the point-slope equation. So the first thing you would do is find the slope between the 2 points, and then choose whichever point you'd want to use. And then the formula you'd use is this: y minus y1 equal to slope times x minus x1. And in this case, x and y, the plane x and the plane y, stay x and y. M is the slope, and then x1 and y1 are one of the 2 points that you want to use. Doesn't matter which one. I like using this one because it's just 2 steps to get from here to the slope-intercept equation. Distribute the slope to both things inside the parentheses, and then add y1 to both sides. So here we go, operations with coordinates. There'll be an assignment relating to this on Thursday, so watch out for that. And yeah, I hope this first lesson went pretty well.